Mastery podcast live stream. Shown here with India. How you doing, India?
I'm doing well. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing well. So, today we're going to be going over our core values, and I know that you have 6 core values. I
Right.
have 5 core values, and the reason core values are so important in a business, the main reason is just so you know where you stand and where you can like have boundaries and where you can say, well, that doesn't align with what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And another really good reason is when you hire someone, if they don't have the same core values as you, even though they're nice people and they're great to be around,
Right.
and they might even just be a real good person all around, if your
Mhm.
core values don't align, you're going to find out down the line that you're not really aligned
Yeah, I
in
have a story
business.
about that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. So how's that story go?
So, when I was starting to look for publishers for my book called Surviving the Unwanted Divorce, I had someone approach me, and he is very good at marketing. I mean, he's pretty well known. And he said he would publish it and market it and all that. And it sounded great. But I started looking into it. I was like, you know what? I can't because our core values are so misaligned that I knew that if I did it, I would regret it. Even though I knew I probably would be launched a lot faster, my book would get eyes on it easier because he had a formula, but I just couldn't do it because our core values were so different.
Yeah.
So I chose not to do it. I self published, and it actually ended up being okay. It was a lot slower process, but I'm so glad I made that decision.
So what I mean, I just want to dig deeper so that the audience knows what exactly was out of alignment.
Well, I guess I knew too much about his lifestyle, and I knew that it did not align with mine. And it just made me cringe. And so I didn't want anything to do with him, even though business and personal are separate. You know, it's the heart dictates how people are. And so I knew in his core that we were not a match,
Right.
and even though it was not even business related. So
Right.
if I look at my core values, it's trust, integrity, God, honesty, accountability, respect. And the integrity and the trust weren't there, and God wasn't there. That was probably the main thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty um, I'm strong in my faith, and so that was probably the biggest reason. There was a lot of mockery around that, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I got coached by this guy named Jay Abraham. He actually lives in Palos Verdes, where I was raised. Even though I claim Hermosa Beach, where I was born and raised, Palos Verdes is where my dad moved to, but I don't really claim that because that's where the schmuckty schmucks are. Anyhow, he coached me on something, and the issue that I had is I had a lot of videos out there on YouTube of me just being silly, and I had to remove them all. And I wish I have the video somewhere, but he told me certain things of there's a way to realign yourself to where if you have this, because I'm a little irreverent,
Hmm.
and there's a way to realign yourself to where you're more in line with your core values. So mine are basically, I got them right here. Keep it in the vault, which means people tell me their darkest secrets and I keep them in the vault. I don't tell anybody, and I've always been like that. Patience, practice patience, tolerance, and kindness. The reason I have that as a core value is it's very hard for me to be patient, tolerant, and kind. So I need to practice it, and that's like the root word in that core value. I also have inspire and innovate. So whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm saying, I need to inspire people to take action on whatever they want to do with the words that I'm using. I also have experienced the fun. My whole thing is that's really a lot of my videos that were out there. It was just me having fun,
Hmm.
but it could have been deemed a little offensive. I don't think they were really offensive. I have one out there of me singing a song and acting kind of goofy. It's still out there on the internet on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really fun. And then do what you say you're going to do.
Hmm.
So we're going to dig into all of these, and this might take a little bit longer than we expected because we're already at 5 minutes. But um, tell me a little bit about your first core value, how it came about, and how you apply it to your life and your business.
Yeah, so trust. With total trust, nothing is impossible. Without trust, there is nothing. So that goes between me and a client, goes between me and my colleagues like you. So trust is everything. If I can't trust the person I'm working with, what kind of relationship do we have? And I feel the same thing. I want my clients to completely trust me, and I know that what they tell me remains right here. It goes nowhere else. And that's super important as a coach, especially a divorce coach who I'm hearing really dark things. And I am a vault like you are. It does not leave this room. So the
Right,
trust is huge. Integrity, what I have under integrity is this is who we are and how we represent ourselves. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. This is our manners, the decisions we make, and what we stand for and believe in. Do what you say and say what you do. And
right.
so when I say something that I'm going to do it, I do it. That is like one thing. My word is words are valuable. Words are creating, and I feel like if you when you speak something, it creates. And if you are always letting yourself down by not following through, it does something to your self-esteem. So for me, when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, the way I bring that up, and we might want to go back and forth on these. I have do what you say. Do what you say you're going to do. And so the way I explained that was in the beginning, there was the word was God, and the word was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then God said, let there be light. He didn't go, just kidding. There's not going to be any light. You guys have
Right.
to walk around the darkness. So another way that I explained this, and I was in another program for many, many years. I was the what was called the production supervisor for 5 years in my early 20s for this program. It's called Landmark. Anyhow, I'm a Landmark guy from the 80s. But here's the deal: is we would say is if you're on a flying trapeze, if two people are on a flying trapeze, and one is going and they flip through the air, the other one gives their word. They're going to be there on time to catch that person. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not there on time, if you don't keep your word, then that other person dies internally every time. So all of us have that friend that says, "Yeah, I'll be there at 1 o'clock," and they show up at 2:30. And what you end up doing is you go, "Okay, I'll be there at 11:30," because you know they're going to be an hour and a half late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, down in your heart, you die every time that person's late, and it's vice versa. So then, what's another? What's the other one
Well,
that?
that leads to respect, which is also on my list, and I feel like that is disrespectful to the other person because their time's valuable, and if you can't honor that, then you're disrespecting your client, your partner, your colleague, whatever. So respect. If you say you're going to do something, do it out of respect for yourself, but also for the other person.
Yeah, and I actually have the practice patience, tolerance, and kindness, and that might go a little bit with your core value of respect, but one of them is check your ego at the door. So I literally have a little hook right here on my desk. You can't see it, but
Mm-hmm.
I bought a hook and I put it on there, and that hook, just when I see it, it's always there. It's in my peripheral vision. I may not know it's there, but in my unconscious state, I know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is I hang my ego on that little hook.
Right.
And so every morning when I come in, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Don't be Mr. Know It All and don't be arrogant. Another thing, what it means with patience, tolerance, kindness, and love is I demonstrate empathy. Like I can really relate to people when they're in like the depths because we're coaches and they're going to be bringing us these very sorrowful experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need to be calm and peaceful in that state.
Right.
So that kind of develops that. But I want to tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean to belittle others, to be self-centered, and to participate in the drama. So participating in the drama is a big thing for me because what people have the word tolerate and tolerance. And I say tolerate is participating in the drama. And that's when you say, I won't tolerate this anymore. Tolerance is You can have all that drama, but just not around me.
Mm-hmm.
However, in my business, I'm not going to tolerate drama. It's like we're going to get down to causes and conditions. We're going to understand what's going on. You know, there might be a little drama. We'll let you go through that, and then we're going to get down to what are the next steps to, you know, bring a more healthy experience to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your next one?
So, accountability. I think it's important to have accountability partners. But under that, we are 100% responsible for all that happens to us, even if it's not our fault. We take responsibility for all situations that we're involved in. Accountability equals no excuses. So, accountability, I mean, I love the saying that it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. And that goes in your business, that goes in your life, that goes in everything. I mean, even divorce. So, I know that sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, especially if someone has wronged you when you're going, it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. A lot of people get bristly. They're like, what do you mean is my responsibility? So, that is something that is, again, a hard pill to swallow in after divorce. It's a hard pill to swallow in business when things go sideways, and you look back and you know you kind of want to like not take responsibility, but you have to. So accountability is huge.
Yeah, this is a really hard one for me, especially like in relationships with someone that doesn't have that, and where I always have to say, well, here was where I was wrong. And then there's that person that will say, yeah, you're right, you were wrong there. It's like, well, wait a minute, where were you wrong? Well, I'm perfect, and I just
Right.
float across. That is where you have a conflict in your core values. That is someone that won't work in my business, that won't be able to look at themselves. And I have friends, literally, I don't know why I seem to attract women that are consistently like, yeah, you do need to work on yourself a little bit. And I'm like, but I think that's just like a man-woman thing. But the bottom line is, if the core values don't align with that, then it's really going to be issues. I have inspire and innovate. So what that means is we set and achieve goals. So we're using Nifty for that. Continued education. So you have a coach, I have a coach. We both spend, upwards of 40 grand a year on coaching. It's because we need to continue our education on what we're doing. And then we also inspire and innovate is create simple solutions.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I have that in here is because the way my brain works and the way I think, like I'm an architect and I'm an engineer. I was a Microsoft engineer for many, many years. And I think complicated. But my gift is I can take the most complicated stuff and I can bring them to you in a simple solution. So if someone else comes to me with something very complicated, I'm like, okay, can you dumb that down and then come back to me? Because it's your job to understand the technical complications of everything, and it's my job just to understand the simplicity of what you're doing,
right,
as a business owner, right? But what it doesn't mean is be lazy, fake it till you make it. And let me tell you about that. That's like taking shortcuts, building something or doing something or implementing something to like, this is the best practice, but I'm not going to do the best practice. I'm going to do it this way because it's faster. Well, there's a reason it's the best practice. Let me give you an example of that. As a Microsoft engineer, many years ago, this is back in the 90s, shows you how far I go back. Anyhow, there was this thing that if you did it, and it was to take the documents off the desktop of Windows 95. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. The point was you could do this certain thing, but 5 years down the line, it would break the network. And Microsoft knew this. And they said, don't do it. And so I was in information technology, and the director, he's the vice president, kept telling me to remove it. And I said, no, because it's going to degrade the network. I actually got let go for mocking the guy, because I actually said, what part of no do you not understand, the N or the O? Because I can explain both those letters. And I didn't get let go of that, but I almost got fired for it. Okay, but my point is, fake it till you make it is where that, and then provide false hope. One of my biggest things is when we go to people, and now we're working with newer coaches, right? But I don't want someone to think that just because they're doing something, oh my gosh, I can't say this, but I'm not working with someone, but I'm having conversations with someone right now that they think they're going to have this absolutely huge event. And I'm like, Grant Cardone gets like 10,000 people in his events, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You are not going to 10x that,
Mm-mm.
right? You're not going to have 100,000 people at your event. The US Festival in 1983 was 500,000 people. But the guy who did that was Steve Wozniak. Who was he? He invented the Apple computer. He was Steve Jobs' sidekick, right? So I don't want to provide false hope and say to someone, oh, yeah, you can do that. Okay, so enough about me. What's your next one? Because you have more than me. But you
Yeah,
already.
so I have honesty. This is a big one and goes hand in hand with trust. We are always 100% honest in all our dealings with the people in our lives. So this is not only my business, but it's also my family core values. So honesty is huge, and sometimes honesty. You have to say it gently, right? So you're with a client or with a colleague. You can be honest, and sometimes you have to. There's a Sandler saying that if you feel it, say it, but say it gently, and so that comes hand in hand with even coaching, because oftentimes mindset is what's keeping people stuck. And so even though this person might be in a very vulnerable place, you can call it out, but gently. And anyway, so what's your take on honesty?
Well, I can go into that, but there's a thing in 12-step programs where it says, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? And does it need to be said by me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big one. Does it need to be said
Yeah.
by me? A lot of the things in spiritual growth is it's not the things that we do, it's the things that we don't do. It's like, this needs to be said, but it doesn't need to be said by me, so I'm not going to say it. But people don't see me not saying it, right? That's the spiritual aspect. That's humility, where people see they don't see the humility that all of us display, right? But then there's the other thing. Go ahead. Were you going to say
I was
something?
going to say, you can often, without even saying it, you can ask a question and then they come up with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of times being honest is asking the right question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that. And then we also have something called the diamond in the rough, or what I like to call the beep sandwich. Hey, man, someone beat me. Someone got their finger on a button. But the thing is with that is where you give two positives, then you give the truth, and then you give another positive. And
Mm-hmm.
it would be something to the effect of, if someone embarrasses you every time you go out, and I do have friends like that, and maybe I'm that guy once in a while, but I have a friend that you can't go anywhere because he attracts so much negative attention, that you're like, dude, we're at a gas station and people are looking at us. I just want to pump the gas. Don't get out of the car and act weird. And so I would say, hey, you know what? I really love the fact that you and I are friends, and you've helped me out in so many things. And you've also, your company, we go to concerts with each other. We have a good time doing that. When you act dysfunctional at group level in public, it embarrasses me and it embarrasses you. I know you think it doesn't, but it's really uncomfortable. And I don't want you doing that around me anymore. I'm not going to hang out with you. But I look forward to going to more shows with you, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do two positives and then the truth and then another positive. So that's kind of the way that I approach people with what's it called, confrontations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My next one is experience the fun. We're coming up on a half an hour, but I like experience the fun. It's high energy, passion, and gratitude and participation. So one of the things with me is I don't laugh a lot, but I don't cry a lot. And I have a lot of fun, but I'm not the guy. Um, I'm not the big, huge laugher. Okay. but I do want to participate in the fun, right? And so I always am. But what experiencing the fun doesn't mean is negativity, judging the results like, oh, well, that would have been better if, right? That's not allowed. And then this is the big one, it's the vampires. Okay. And if you don't know what a vampire is, you might even be one. It's when you go to a mixing event and that one person talks to the person, like say like there's a keynote speaker, and that one person just puts their fangs in their neck and won't stop talking to them. And there's like a big line of like 30 people that want to talk with the keynote, and that one person is going like 10 minutes. And all you got to do, hey, I like what you said, da da da, pleasure to meet you, and go on. One of the things I do with the vampires, if I see someone have a vampire in their neck at a mixing event, I'll go up and I'll wait for that one little time and space where I can interrupt. I'll go, hey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. And then I'll ask the keynote speaker a question. No, I'll ask the vampire a question and they'll look at me and they'll answer it. Then I'll ask the keynote question and go, hey, these people wanted to talk to you. And then I'll walk away. And that's none of my business, but I just can't stand vampires. Maybe that's something I need to work on.
Yeah, so I love the fun part. I mean, I love to laugh. I like to make people laugh. I want my business to be fun, and I have a lot of fun in business. So I think business should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have one more, but we already went over that. It's do what you say you're going to do, live with integrity, keep your word, follow through to completion. But what it doesn't mean is give up, do things half-assed, and take shortcuts, which I already went on. But the one thing is give up, especially if you're a coach. You know, people need to be coached. They're waiting for you to coach them. They're actually holding their credit cards right now, right? I'm not going to hold this up we don't want to put the number up on the internet, right? But there's people waiting right now with their credit cards, waiting to pay you to coach them. So don't give up. Always, always put your best foot forward. If you fail, take 2 steps back and 3 steps forward. Okay. So how do you look at that, people that give up, or how do you inspire them to not give up?
Yeah, so I think failure is part of the process of life, of business. I even have a saying like fail fast or fail forward, because you get that much closer to success. I do things all the time. I start things that you know, I have my hands in a lot of things, and sometimes they don't work out, and that's okay. But it's one less thing that I know I don't need to put my energy toward. So failure is part of the process. It's again just one step closer to success. So I don't see it as a failure. I mean, failure is a good thing. It's not a terrible thing in business. You know, you almost want to embrace it.
Right. And the thing with failure is many times you can learn from it, but also a lot of people don't know that what you think is a failure to them is an epic success.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you about that when I saw that band and they almost broke up. I went to this show and these guys knocked it out of the ballpark. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. The next year, I went to see them again when they were in town. And then I heard behind the scenes that they almost broke up the year before at the concert I went to because they all thought that they sucked and that they brought a horrible performance. So what was the best performance in my life, they thought was the worst performance. Mm-hmm. So your failure always isn't a failure. It's just how you perceive it at times. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a stepping stone, you know.
Okay, so cool. So tell us a little bit about Fridays. What's going on these Fridays in March of 2024?
So yes, we are having, Shone and I are leading a master class, and it is free, and it's on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so we're going to go over marketing strategies, and it's a great way to be a part of a community. And here's the thing, you know, coaches are welcome, but here's the great thing about it is oftentimes the question you have that you put forward is often something someone else is thinking but may not have asked. And so we learn from each other. And so we'll be covering that every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And what else, Sharon? What else can we talk
Well,
about?
you want to go to coachmarketingmasterclass.com. That's coachmarketingmasterclass.com to sign up for these Fridays. We're going to be doing it every Friday. I think I'll be there. I am flying out to my mastermind group that is in North Carolina coming up next week. But the other thing is, some of the people are there. This is for newer coaches, seasoned coaches. We had actually a gentleman last week that was very advanced in business, already had a successful business,
Right.
and wanted to create the same thing out here, but just needed the revenue, so it needed the money. And since I'm an investor, he might have been hinting to me. He might have read my LinkedIn profile, and I'm in a collaborative, so we have the money to invest. But he didn't just come out and say, "Let's sit down and talk," discuss money. But that wasn't the space or time to do that. So it's coachmarketingmasterclass.com. Go ahead, go there now, sign up. We'll see you then. And then, India, what are your closing thoughts when it comes to the core values?
Well, the core value, I actually wanted to touch on the seasoned professional that came to our class. He actually, in that session, discovered that there was one thing that was missing that he could be doing right now.
Yeah.
And that was speaking more. So Shona and I really helped him uncover that. So now he's got a whole new avenue to explore and go downs to bring more clients and make more revenue.
Absolutely.
So closing thoughts, masterclass. The masterclass is a lot of fun. So
the closing thoughts on the
core values.
Core values.
Yeah. So my last one, I'll be super brief, and it's faith. It's faith versus fear. Faith that it's going to be okay. And I am a big believer that I have expectation that things are going to work out. And so I want to bring that to the table, because if you're a new coach and things look a little bit daunting, we can help. And we expect, because we actually have done so much of this ourselves, we expect that you're going to be successful, and we can show you how to do it.
Right. Yeah. And there's a saying that fear knocked at the door, faith answered, and there was no one there.
Right.
And one of the things when it comes to that is it takes a tribe, it takes a village to help get to where I am. First of all, I had to have a coach, my best coach ever, Craig Jacobson, first guy that helped me get to where, well, he wasn't my first coach, but the one who got me to where I'm at now.
Right.
Like, I was there every week, and he said the same thing over and over and over. And I'll tell you, the number one thing he taught me in all of my marketing skills was not marketing at all. It was how to interact with a woman or a wife. And what he said is, he said, Sean, it's your job to cause the least amount of stress in her life. And I was like, wow, that was a big deal for me. But yeah, with the faith and the fear and the community that we have, come to coachmarketingmasterclass.com, learn more about it, and then we'll see you Friday, 10 a.m. Go ahead, India.
Yeah, see you there.